Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I am happy to introduce you to Elaine Oliver. Elaine is the Executive Director of H.E.L.P in Charlotte County, where she helps existing networks of food pantries, feeding programs, service agencies, and outreach ministries to take every donated dollar and stretch it out to be worth at least $10. And we're going to talk about how that happens and who H.E.L.P in Charlotte County is helping. So, Elaine, welcome.
Good morning, Tammy. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to explaining our mission to your listeners.
Great. I'm just thrilled to have you here. So first of all, tell me a little bit more about how H.E.L.P in Charlotte County helps these service organizations or other nonprofits, and then we'll just continue and talk about that in the interview.
All right, wonderful. H.E.L.P in Charlotte County, which is an acronym for His Everlasting Love for People, is a faith-based coalition of businesses, churches, individuals, and organizations throughout Charlotte County who work to support with supplemental food and dry goods and personal care items the existing network of food pantries and social service agencies and feeding programs and outreach ministries throughout the entirety of Charlotte County. It fluctuates a bit, but there are typically about 30 agencies that draw upon our services to keep their agency or ministry operating.
Wow, I didn't realize that there were that many people who were relying on H.E.L.P in Charlotte County to help them.
Yes, I don't want to give the impression that we are their only source. There are many that have thrift shops that support their work. There are many that have their own donors, and their own fundraisers and things like that. But everything H.E.L.P in Charlotte County does, when we have an event or we're part of a project, it is to benefit them all. So if you give to H.E.L.P in Charlotte County, you are giving to all those agencies at once.
So if somebody is listening, and many of our listeners will not be from Southwest Florida, so I'll just give you a little background of where we are. We're Southwest Florida in Charlotte County, which is right above Fort Myers and right below Sarasota. It's actually where Hurricane Charlie hit. So right in the beautiful Peace River, Charlotte Harbor area. So what makes the Charlotte County area so vulnerable to having needs or sometimes greater needs than maybe other places, especially when it comes to helping people just eat?
Yes, just have food on the table. Well, part of the vulnerabilities are the same thing that are our assets, our location, our beauty, our influx of winter residents. There's many names for them, but they're typically here from October, November until usually about Easter. Easter fluctuates each year, so by the 1st of April, we are starting to see more of the out-of-state license plates heading north, where in the fall we see them heading south. So it then creates job stability, great stability in the winter months, and an increased instability in the other 8 months of the year. which is quite difficult to deal with as far as families and people trying to maintain a household. Those of us who live here all the time are subject to that volatility, that up and down of the winter, summer months. Though our costs stay nearly the same, businesses and donors and visitors create quite a bit of upheaval for the good and the bad in the wintertime. And then they're gone in the summertime when we really, really need them. That's the kind of funky part about it.
Right.
We appreciate them and love them and welcome them, and then we're basically and really blessed by them, and then we're boom, all of a sudden they're gone. So that creates quite a problem.
So you said basically you have 4 really good months when abundance of jobs, most of the jobs are in the service industry related to the influx of visitors. But then the winter residents leave, and you said there's like 8 months where you may or may not have a job or your hours get reduced and you're vulnerable, yet you still have a household to maintain, you still have children to feed or families to feed, or you have your basic bills that have to be done. And sometimes it just gets hard to make enough income to keep food on the table. So that's where all of these agencies come in to help. You've been around for quite a long time. You've been around for about 8 years, and I'm sure you've seen some phenomenal, some people might call them miracles, or can you talk about some of the things that you've done? I know you told me a story about the simple value of shampoo, and that story really touched me, and I think our listeners would enjoy hearing that.
Yes, of course, I would be glad to. And I can give credit to, several community partners and other nonprofits in the process. Since I want to make it clear to people that though H.E.L.P. itself needs operating funds and therefore donors and community partners and so forth, the bulk of what we do and the reason that we are able to turn your $1 donation into $10 worth of services is because of that coalition that we have built across the community. We are not striving to be a national organization. We are striving to serve our fellow citizens to the best of our ability and to support those other agencies that are serving our fellow citizens. So an opportunity, what you're referencing is an opportunity that I shared with you that we took advantage of, and it was when a national salon chain, Regis, salon chain, I hope that's clear, chain, made a decision to clear out all inventory that they were not going to renew on their shelf. This was not necessarily things that were going bad or things that only had a day or two left on the shelf. This was just, if they carried a product this year, but perhaps it didn't sell well for whatever reason, they were not going to restock it, and they wanted to clear all of this from their shelves and not restock it, maybe choose a different product to put on their salon shelf. So they got a hold of, apparently reached out to a national nonprofit called Good 360. And Good 360 then reached out to local nonprofits across the nation to go and pick up this product. So this was a probably, well, it hasn't happened since, so it might have been a once-in-a-lifetime affair. I hope they do it again, but it hasn't happened again. So this is perfect for H.E.L.P. This is what we do. We get things and bring them into the community, and we provide them to the existing network of programs, and at no charge, and we are able to meet the needs of our citizens. In this particular case, I checked the website, and I was going to claim, as they call it, any salons that existed in Charlotte County, and as it turned out, we had none of those salons. So I checked the nearest county, which was Sarasota, and they had 17 routes, they called it, but each one of those routes had several of the salons on it. So I only picked 3, thinking that was probably our capacity, and wanting to leave some open for other charities to be able to access. I did that on the one evening, and then I went back to the website the next morning to make sure that those 3 routes were confirmed so that I could start making plans with volunteers to go pick all that stuff up. They had initially told us that each salon would have 3 to 5 boxes. So picking 3 routes, knowing there were a certain number of stores, 3 to 5 boxes, I, with my little rational mind, calculated how many pickup trucks, volunteers, would it take to haul that, I should think of a nicer word, to bring all those gifts back into Charlotte County and distribute them. And so I did that, and we set out we were given a date for pickup, so we made our arrangements, and we set out that morning at 9 o'clock to go by each store, pick up the stuff, and bring it back and to Charlotte County. And as it turned out, the first store we went to had 17 boxes. And as we went along the route, every store was the same. It was not 3 to 5. It was 10. It was 12. It was 17. It hardly, I don't think any of them hit 20, but most of them were between 15 to 17, actually. Now, these ended up weighing 50, 75 pounds. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And beyond comprehension what we had just bit off. But we were not deterred, mind you. We don't get deterred. We just have to think of a new plan. And as it turned out, no one else claimed any of the other routes in Sarasota, so I just took them all. And we ended up with a complete house full of product. You literally could not walk. By the time 3 days later, when all that product was brought back into Charlotte County and ended up at our office, you could not walk. There was no floor space left. So then, we contacted the agencies, told them, about this generous gift, what was going on, and how we hope to distribute it to them. And we then turned to a business partner, Lori Grimaldi, and told her about the situation, and she offered approximately, I believe it turned out to be about 1,000 square foot of her business, where she typically would hold an auction, but she rearranged it so that we could bring all this product in, set up tables. Her workers and our volunteers unpacked it all and organized it so that people could literally go through it and pick the things they needed or wanted. And yes, I will say that, maybe just wanted, because there was everything from nail polish to beautiful barrettes and every imaginable hair care product on earth, from gel to shampoo to conditioner, just mousse, anything you could dream of was there. So we set a date to distribute it. We had all the agencies. We alerted all the agencies. Some of them came and got it for their agencies to distribute. Others alerted their clients. there are individuals that come in for help, and the individuals came in themselves. It really didn't matter to us because we knew that they were all in need, which is all in need of this service that we had to offer this special day. And typically, like help works behind the scenes in a supportive role. But on this particular day, we were on the other side of the table as the person was picking up their products. So we were very careful. We wanted to make sure there was enough to go around. When you do something like this, you really don't know how many people are going to show up. So we didn't want the last person in line to have fewer options than the first person in line. And so we were very careful, but after all of the agencies and all of the individuals that were present went through, Lori gave them each a little shopping cart, and after they went through and they picked the products that they could use for either their agency or their individual household, there was still a lot left. So we told them, go empty your cart in your vehicle or whatever, and go ahead and get back in line and come through again. And more than once, I think I mentioned a time to you, but more than once, you would see a person pick up a product. Maybe it was something of very high value. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a little hair barrette, whatever. But these were very nice hair barrettes. But they may pick up, say, a very nice shampoo, and they would hold it for a minute, and they would look at it. And in my mind, since I've lived this story myself, I could see myself in their shoes looking at that very nice product and could hardly believe that they were going to walk away with that product free. Now, that product might have cost, and most of them did, $20 minimum and up to $30, $40 for hair care products, very nice hair care products. And if you've been in those shoes, you look at it, you hold it, you may even turn it around and read the ingredients or the directions, and then you realize you cannot buy it, and you put it back on the shelf. And this is not an uncommon story. But I won't say many, but several of these individuals, you would see a tear start to come out of their eye and down their cheek. They literally could not believe that they were going to receive this product, as a gift. It was just amazing. And so more than one volunteer and myself, as soon as they started to have the tear run down their face, a tear would run down our face because we knew that we had been put in a position to bless this person with something that they were never going to be able to buy on their own. And it's just so close to home. It's so heartfelt. And so then I extrapolate that out to the situations we run into when people come in to get food. This is not a joyous thing that people just say, oh, I can't wait to go to the food pantry and get some, odds and ends of food, because that's really what it boils down to. These are people that are coming in for survival food. They need a few canned goods, maybe some baked goods that have been donated by one of the stores, some meat from USDA meat from the food bank in Fort Myers, some prepackaged types of food. There's many that do community packaging, and a lot of it gets sent to Africa, but then there's always some that gets sent through the food banks to the local communities. It's just amazing, Tamara. It's just amazing. There is no, I don't know what people must think when they think that going to a food pantry is in any way enjoyable. It's not. You stand in line for a long time. You're going to get odds and ends that you're going to go home and try to create something out of, and yet the people at the food pantry, they're doing the best they can with the donations they get. So H.E.L.P. is main purpose is to support their efforts to either have an event to collect a huge amount of food, and I mean huge because that's what it takes. We work with several churches in the spring of each year on Feed the Harbor, and in one day, this year, we collected in 6 hours 15 tons of food between 9 and 3 o'clock at every public store in Charlotte County. And then at 3 o'clock, the food pantries, social service agencies, feeding programs, and outreach ministries arrived to pick up their portion of the food. And now we had volunteers, almost 200, that worked all day sorting, making it so, boxing it, making it so it would be easy. So at 3 o'clock, it was ready for them to pick up. That was fantastic, unbelievable. And
right.
we just thank everybody involved. I mean, there's just no way to, you thank them, but there's no way to adequately thank someone for doing that. Everything from the shoppers who came from all over the place. I mean, we put it on Facebook. We publicized it ahead of time. WJIS, a Christian radio station, did PSAs for us. The newspaper ran a small article about it. So, that's, again, what I mean by coalition. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We don't intend to be a food bank. We don't store food for people. We collect it. We distribute it. Or we have an event that raises money so that we can purchase food on a wholesale level or from other whatever source, I should say, so we can source food. And a lot of times the food is free, but there's some transportation costs involved. And that's what we're all about. We get the food, we distribute the food. We need donations to do that. We need business partners to do that. And your money is going into your own community. It's doing what we say it will do, helping your fellow citizens receive products that they really, really need. Did that adequately?
More than adequate. And what I was thinking as you were speaking was that you truly help in Charlotte County in invisible ways and behind the scenes ways that are so valuable. And I was calculating, the 15 tons, so 30,000 pounds.
Right.
Of food.
It was actually, and that's really an estimate, Tamara, because we use the Postal Service way of doing it, and when they do the Mother's Day postal drive, which is also very important, and it's vital to these food pantries. If people are not taking part in the Postal Service drive, I think it's the second Saturday of May, which is usually very close to Mother's Day, and they call it the Mother's Day food drive. But please participate. I mean, we're not the only game in town. You know what I mean? We want local citizens to support local events that help their community. And the postal drive is certainly one of them. It's one of the major ones for the whole year. And so they use, those white letter boxes they use in their trucks?
Yes.
Most people would know what that is. We use banana boxes at our Feed the Harbor, and we equate the poundage. The Postal Service says they have an average of 40 pounds in one of those of food in one of those white boxes that they use, and then that's how they calculate their poundage. And then there's a national food average dollar per pound that you anyway. That's how that is all done, and so that's why we come up with actually $29,950. So excuse me for rounding it off to 30,000, but I just round it off because, to me that's 30,000 pounds. 15
yeah, I think I'll let you slide on that one.
Were you? You weren't going to call me on it?
so before I let you go, I know that you have a Cornerstone program, and also tell people where they can donate and where they can find out more about H.E.L.P in Charlotte County.
Oh, I will gladly do that. First of all, the Cornerstone program is just a name. We do operate as a faith-based organization, so you are going to find much of our thinking and much of our actions based on Scripture and scriptural guidance. And so the cornerstone, of course, as most people know, is the main stone of a building. It's what everything else is dependent on. It's the square, in other words, of a building. So in the Bible, it says that Jesus is the cornerstone. So that is where that thinking comes from. And then the Cornerstone program is designed to be, when it's fully operational, when we have enough Cornerstone partners, to be the support, the continual, dependable support for our operational budget, and then from that will flow the amount of money that can be spent on programs, ours being food, supporting the food needs of Charlotte County. So our initial goal is to have 200 Cornerstone partners. That means that 200 people would pledge through our website using their credit card or PayPal. They would send a monthly check, or they could use what's called electronic funds transfer through their bank, just like they might pay their monthly insurance. It's not bill pay, it's electronic funds transfer on a monthly basis to H.E.L.P in Charlotte County. Our initial goal is to have 200 individuals pledging or committing to $20 a month. Now, if you cannot do $20, you could do $10. That isn't of particular importance to me. But if we could have an average, let's go the other way. If you feel like you could do more than $20 and you would like to do $50 a month, that would not break my heart either. Okay? I can go either way on that. There's another scripture that says I've learned how to be content whether I abound or whether I abase. St. Paul said that. So all situations are okay with me. I have learned to be content. And I am only asking that people would consider doing or being a Cornerstone partner at whatever level, be it $100 a month, at whatever level they are able to be a Cornerstone partner. But please be one. That's the important thing. Be one. You could start at $5 and increase it periodically if you see that you could increase it. If you become a Cornerstone partner, and for some reason your life changes, which it can in a split second, you must reduce it. You're completely free to do that. I'm just asking that people would become one, become a Cornerstone partner. That's the most important thing right now as far as our financial health and our ability to provide services to the community. So they can do that by sending a note to me, Elaine Oliver, at our mailing address, which I hope that you will write down, or I don't know if your listeners would have a pen and paper handy, but it is 21061 Riddle Avenue, RIDD as in dog, L-E Avenue, Port Charlotte, Florida, 33954. Or go to our website, which is, of course, www. all small letters, no spaces, helpincharlottecounty.org. And on the first page is Donate Now. And
I see that. I'm at your site.
Yeah, when you press that button, it will very quickly take you to a donate page. It will explain what your money does if you've done that. You will see that what $20 will do, what this will, and so forth. And it's very simple. And I don't know, is there anything else that you can think of that I need to mention in regard to donations?
Obviously, Help in Charlotte County is a non-profit or not-for-profit organization, and your donations would be tax deductible. And
yes,
it's
that is
really easy. It's literally a click of a button, or of course, if you're old school, you can write a check and send it to the address. And I will have all of this information in clickable links in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about scribbling down that address. You'll be able to see it in the notes about the shows. Well, thank you, Elaine. I learned a lot about Help in Charlotte County, and I also learned a lot about how big the hearts of people in Charlotte County are. And I learned, of course, the fact that there is a true need, that is an ongoing need, basically 12 months a year, and that every single person can help in a small way. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming today, Elaine.
I know, Tamara, that I can tell you're moving toward that goodbye message, but may I just, I know a lot about food and hunger and need, but I did some additional research in the days prior to us talking, and one thing in particular struck me. I have several things highlighted, but I know we don't have time for that. But the word compassion, I just wanted to explain that the word compassion comes from cum passio, and then that means to suffer with. So we would ask that you have some compassion, that your listeners would have compassion, in essence, to suffer with those who suffer. And to make that suffer, what that does is it reduces the suffering. So your listeners have an opportunity to join with Help in Charlotte County and lessen the suffering by suffering with them.
I'm going to let us end on that beautiful note, to have compassion and help in Charlotte County. This is Tammy Patzer. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.